Hey team, it's time for an early career designer's portfolio review. I'm Megan Thomas and I'm a senior UX designer with almost 10 years of experience in enterprise software design. I've taught and mentored over 300 early career designers through UC Berkeley's UX UI Design Bootcamp. In this video, I'm going to review an early career designer's portfolio and share my thoughts as a senior designer. My goal is to provide actionable feedback to help them succeed as they look for a job in the UX industry. Join me for a stream of consciousness walkthrough as I assess one of their case studies. Remember, mine is just one opinion. Make sure to get multiple perspectives before making any changes. All right, let's dive into the review and learn together. Hello, friends. I am so excited here with another early career designer portfolio review. I'm thrilled because Devon has given me permission to do a portfolio review and share it with you. And I need to tell you, Devon's a little bit worried about the feedback that they're going to get because they are a Google UX designer. They've gone through the Google certification course and they've also built their entire portfolio from scratch. I'm checking my notes over here. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you. A self-study UX designer with one Google bootcamp under my belt. So I'm not sure how it actually compares to others, and I'm a little worried I lost sight of some important UX details while focusing on the code and actually building it. Really excited about this. You don't see a lot of UX designers, or at least I don't see a lot of UX designers coming out of the Google bootcamp on Coursera successfully. There's a lot of reasons to that. I actually have an entire post in my Patreon about it, but it basically boils down to you're not getting quality mentorship and you're not getting any mentorship, much less quality mentorship. You're not getting any mentorship. Your work is graded by other people who are also learning. Guess what? That's literally like putting two blind people in a room and saying, go find your way, figure it out. It's not fair. It's not fair to do to people who are students at a student level. They don't know what kind of feedback to give. It's not fair to anyone who's going through the Google design course on Coursera if they don't actually have a senior mentor to reach out to and get real feedback from people who actually have experience in the industry to know whether or not they're doing it wrong. So let me hit refresh on this page because I think it's absolutely adorable. This little animation at the beginning. Hello, I'm Devon. Okay, first of all, I absolutely love this font. I don't want to say it's an addiction because that minimizes people who actually struggle with addictions. But I own several thousand fonts that I have paid money for and have not used. I just love them. I love collecting them. That's probably why the font creators love me. But anywho, I think this is adorable and I love how it's introducing you. As a UX designer, I work to create meaningful experiences through thoughtful designs. I've always been big on leaving things better than I found them. I have a strong appreciation for the emotional impact of visual design and approach each project with curiosity and creativity. To me, the key to successful design is a 3-step process: research, ideation, and persistence. That is so interesting, Devon. So what I'm hoping and expecting to see in your case studies is that you're showing me that you're creating meaningful experiences, that your decisions are thoughtful, and that you're focusing on UX design work. So you've got Pitch In, case study, website and app for volunteering, Let's Eat, case study, app for meal picking and planning, Bunny's Bakery, app for customized dessert ordering, and The Credits, case study, responsive website for movie refreshment ordering. So you've got 4 of them on here and the visuals look really, really good. Although I'm going to tell you, I really want to see some titles that don't require you to hover over the tile in order for me to get some context information about what the projects are. Not everyone. Now, most hiring managers are going to know to click on one of these. But if you're out here trying to get your first job in the industry, and that might not be with a salaried company, you said that you've had a lot of applications to jobs so far with little response, and all of the responses that you've gotten so far are rejections. That is so disappointing to hear. And at first glance, I feel like your portfolio does a really good job of saying, especially since you hand coded this yourself, I feel like it does a really good job of showing what you're capable of. Let's do a little inspecty spec, and let me see what this looks like in a device. All right. So here on mobile, remember there are no hover states on mobile. So even though I'm scrolling up and down this, I can't see any information. So there's a lot of folks. I say so because I'm going to take a hard left turn here. Let me actually turn my signal on. Tick, tick, tick. We're turning left. There's a lot of folks who will tell you that your portfolio doesn't necessarily need to be accessible because it's just your portfolio. You're not catering to a certain amount of users. You're not doing certain things. People aren't really interacting and transacting with your portfolio website. I disagree that you shouldn't have your portfolio coded to as high a level of accessibility as you can, because there's a lot of assumptions being made about hiring managers and recruiters in the tech industry who might be hiring for designers. And now I feel like saying this is going to raise a little lightning rod for me to get struck by lightning, or someone's going to have an opinion about this. I truly doubt a lot of people watch these videos in order to find something that Megan said wrong. But I say this because we're making assumptions about whether or not hiring managers and recruiters may have disabilities. They may have disabilities that we don't know about. 20% of the world has some sort of disability, and how accurate that is and how widely spread certain disabilities might be is not necessarily for debate. It's just not data I have to hand. But let's not make assumptions about what people are capable of and or what they're looking for on our portfolio. So I would add some titles and some of those context things. Instead of a hover state, I would add those below the images. All right, let's get out of here. And I did want to look over on your resume. Love, good picture, freelance and independent study, collaborated with startup founder to pinpoint the brand and company personality to create and tailor a logo and design system that aligned with their vision. Designed and crafted personalized, theme-specific invitations and party favors, focusing on attention to detail and understanding the client's preferences to ensure a memorable event. Conducted usability testing and user research to create multiple high-fidelity prototypes of apps and responsive websites. That's headed back to your work page. Developed portfolio website from scratch using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is fantastic. This looks really, really good. You putting all of this here on this is really nice. Yeah, download my resume. Let's make sure that new page, it's a whole different whatever. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Devon, this is fantastic. All right. I also kind of want to be like, about me. Thrive on learning, experimenting, and trying to understand the world. You've got, does this go anywhere? I'm not sure why I get a little finger pointer when it is. You've got some images that are a little squished here. I think if I'm trying to remember my coding correctly, we need to, there's an aspect ratio, and then you should be able to kind of like zoom in on parts of the screen. If you're using a background fill, if you're using this image as a background fill, man, I am having to really stretch for that information. I haven't done this in a while. I think there's a way to position the image by saying like top something and then left something. I think there's something in there, but it'll help you not look like your photos are stretched in a weird direction, and they will all look as you intend them to fill up that space. But this looks really good. All right, let's go to your work. Oh, cool. You've got a different layout. So you've got them on your home page and you've got them on your work page. Love. So professional work, personal projects. This is cool. I love it. Okay, I'm curious. Okay, multiple social media campaigns for ACUI. I don't seem to be able to click on these. Is that intentional? It's just a div class text, P class animate text. Oh, okay. Recognition posters. All right. Well, that might be your intention, and we don't have any case studies for those. So let me just take myself back over the case studies. I don't have context on whether or not these are UX or UI, but I think since you've marked yourself as a UX designer, I should just trust that. And I'm going to click on the first portfolio project you have here. I'm relying on primacy bias, and I'm assuming that you've put your best work first on the portfolio. We typically read here in America, we read left to right, top to bottom. So the item that and also in a Z and or F pattern. So really and truly, anything that's at the top left is the thing that I am most likely to see and more likely to click on. So let's find out about this website and app for volunteering. Oh no, oh, there it goes. Okay. Did I click in the wrong place? Okay, so I can't click over here, even though that pointer says I should be able to. So over here is and then somewhere over here it drops off. So with the pointer finger, the cursor turning into a pointer, it's indicating to me that I can actually click on that whole image, but only this left side of it is actually clickable and will take me to the portfolio case study. You can just stretch that out to the rest of the picture. That'd be perfect. Oh, love it. Okay, so we've put a GIF at the top to give an overview of what's going on in the website. Try the desktop prototype. Okay, cool. So, oh, nice. We've got inside, what is it? Not inner navigation. That's not the term for it, but it's on-page navigation. So these are anchor tags that should take me down the page. I'm wondering if I click on one of these, am I going to get down the page but still be able to use that navigation? Let me see. Okay, no, but that's okay. That's still really cool. All right. So the overview, Pitch In is a volunteering app that allows users to create their own pop-up volunteer opportunities. Pitch In strives to unite communities and create real change. Pop-up volunteer opportunities. Now that is interesting. Did you also come up with this idea, or was this given to you? Okay, so Pitch In's target audience is adult professionals who are looking for local opportunities to give back and get involved in the community that will fit into their own busy schedule. I will say that it feels like maybe this is a really long line length. Something that likely was not covered by Google, because I know that their course is not terribly in depth. So first of all, this is amazing. The line length is to make it really comfortable for users. I believe the most comfortable is something between like 77 characters and like 140 characters, but I might actually be comfortable line length for reading online. 45 to 80 characters, wow, is the ideal line length for text on websites. So this is the readability formula, but this is just because they have like the best SEO and raised to the top doesn't necessarily mean we know that they are the most trustworthy. But there we go, balancing line length and font size. So I would look at this and figure out a little bit of adjustment to make for this. It feels like small enough text that I'm like reading forever, and people start to, honestly, we have the attention of a goldfish these days. So it's just a quick suggestion that maybe we could bring this in. You might even consider, since you've got some breaking up of space down here in this box, you might consider adding the overview and then maybe the goal in the green box, just to balance and give people something to anchor onto in the visual design. So the goal is to create an app that allows volunteers to create their own events, quickly and easily improving the process of volunteering by allowing users to customize their events to their needs and making events more accessible, inclusive, and inviting. An app that allows volunteers to create their own events, quickly and improving the process of volunteering by allowing users to customize their events to their needs and making events more accessible, inclusive, and inviting. It feels really long, and it feels like I've lost my way kind of in the middle of the sentence. But I appreciate that you've really summed it up. So we want to create a way for people to create a volunteer event and invite others along and make it happen quickly. So it's not like, let's put this on the books for 2 months from now. I looked at 5 volunteer organizations to get a feel for the services and products that already exist. My competitive analysis showed me it would be amazing if that could open in a new tab. Let me jump in here. This is cool. Oh, I can't do that. Golden Volunteer, Just Serve, Givefinity. This is great. This is fantastic. I am really happy. Even though I know we've used like it doesn't even look like it's actually a spreadsheet, although it might actually be. This is a really good visual. Okay. Admired and inspired by, yes. Advanced filtering allows people to find volunteer events that target their main interests. Well-labeled sections make navigating the site easier. Simple designs that keep volunteering as the main focus. Important information for volunteers is repeated in multiple places. Yes. Some room for improvement on these apps. As volunteer events generate from multiple organizations, some sites lack flow and consistency. Yeah. Descriptions of events can either be too wordy and overwhelming or lack important details. Lack of community-oriented features. It doesn't bring people together. No signups on website, redirects to different website, and process begins over. Oh, this is a really solid competitive analysis. I love that you've given it a really strong title for the section too. Let's meet the users. Okay, with some initial information gathered, I was ready to start getting to know my users and learn about their experiences. Research goals. Thank you for making it super clear and making it easy to scan. So understand common challenges people face when looking for volunteer opportunities in their area. Pinpoint common frustrations people experience with volunteer experiences, either volunteering or hosting. And identify frustrations people experience when trying to meet new people in their community. I began by talking to people who volunteer at least 3 to 4 times per year. To gain a different perspective, I also talked to people who don't volunteer regularly but are interested in doing so. I asked about their daily routines, experiences volunteering, and challenges they face when finding volunteer events to participate in. Here's what I learned. Oh, okay, this is solid. All right, let's see. User personas. Volunteering brings me closer to my community. Frustrations. Many volunteer opportunities I see online are from big organizations. I want something more local. I can't commit to longer events. I don't know where to find the best opportunities for me. Find one-time volunteer opportunities that you can sign up for last minute. Be more involved. Find volunteer events you can do with this family. This is great. I mean, typically the recommendation is to get away from using cartoon people if we're away from the proto persona and we're into the user persona. But really and truly, I don't necessarily even, I know user personas will always tell you you need a visual, but honestly, understanding as what appears to be, is that the host? No. Okay. So this is the attendee, the volunteer. Like this is kind of almost a behavioral archetype, a behavioral archetype. Like I'm a volunteer. Not totally. There's a few other things you'd need to add for a behavioral archetype, but this is really clear, I feel. I want to get my students more excited to give back to their community, wants to be able to plan events for their students and community, be able to communicate easily with their network of volunteers, not sure how to engage the students, lack of sites to use, text and email chains can be difficult to make sure everyone's included. Oh my goodness, and they get really overwhelming. Okay, I like this. Let's see, user journey map. How clean. All right. So we've got find volunteer opportunities that fit my schedule. So we can click the image to enlarge. Love it. You've done a really good job coding this. Action. Task list. Yes. Frustrated they're only from bigger nonprofits. Feeling adjective, improvement opportunities. Add filters for type and length. This is as good of a user journey as I can possibly. Oops. Did it open in a new tab? Okay, so user journey map. I really appreciate this user journey map. I really hate the one that's like only the happy path. This is very helpful to me as a designer who would look at this as if you were coming to me and you were working on my team, you'd say, here's what I have developed. And I'd say, okay, this actually helps me come up with actionable things we can do. Maybe we need to start some research around what a pop-up event looks like for this type of user versus this type of user. We can do some feeling adjective. Yeah, we can find out things like CSAT, like the customer satisfaction score, could be very helpful, like asking people before they experienced something on the website and what they felt after they found something or didn't find something. This is really helpful. User flow. All right. Definitely make sure these open in like a new tab or like pop up on the same tab if you can. No pressure if that doesn't work out great. Okay, again, really good job coding. Open app, create an event, look for a volunteer event, events page, sign up, yes or no. Yes. You could also connect your little dots here. So the bottom arrow would be no and come back, and then your top arrow would be yes and come down. But again, that's just nitpicky stuff. Event creation, fill out details, create event. It's very simple. It's good to know. Architecture. All right, let's see what you got. So home, volunteer, add an event, forums. Ooh, that's an interesting choice. Get assistance, food resources, shelter resources, health resources. Interesting. I would have guessed that get assistance in the context of volunteering or creating an event would have nothing to do with any of those things. It would be specifically about the product. So that is interesting. I'm not certain where I would put that. That feels like it's more important to hide in the navigation. It may in fact be something that like is a sticky footer or something. Profile, events and forums, and contact us. I find this interesting. You did choose, okay, so these are events and people need to say, you know, I'm so-and-so and I can prove who I am. I'm going to come over and I'm not going to ruin your event. This is interesting. Profiles are always really interesting because a lot of websites will create them, but they're not totally necessary for the user. But obviously, in order to sign up for an event as a unique person, you're going to need to have that. Really good discovery. All right. Where do I start looking? What even are my options? What's the time frame? Where can I figure out how long these events last? Why is it so hard to find opportunities that fit into my schedule? It looks like you've used quotation marks on here and not, oh, but that's thinking. Sorry, I just realized I'm just saying that. Guilty, they don't volunteer more often. Finding volunteer opportunities. Hands-on events rather than donations. Gets frustrated or distracted by work and kid and then stops looking. Checks to see if it shows how many people are going. This is really insightful. I'm really impressed. I don't believe you only went to Google. This is really good. Again, this feels like a really long line of text. Research, I determined the design should include solutions that save the user time and allow them to better engage in their community. So users want to find opportunities quickly and be able to filter and sort based on their preferences and needs. This is interesting, but tell me more about this. So these aren't really labeled, and I would be curious to know why all these screens were created, because wireframes can start to look like, I don't know, I just put things on here and it looks sort of like what I expect it to. So give me maybe a little bit more context. Hopefully we'll see more context for maybe mid fidelity or high fidelity below. But it would give, like, call out something that saves the user time. What is it that would save the user time that you decided to put on your wireframes? What is it on the wireframes that allow the user to better engage in their community? Using my low fidelity prototype, my usability study consisted of 5 participants who volunteer at least once every 2 to 3 months or lead volunteer events. I asked them each to complete the following. Good job documenting tasks. The prompts are good. Create a new volunteer event. Continue until you reach the confirmation page. Navigate to the forums page. View their most recent post. Locate this section of the app where you would be able to find resources if you were in need of housing assistance. And then prompt 6, how do you feel about overall? Let's see. All right, so we're in the, I appreciate what you've created here. I feel like it's a little overwhelming, and also I can't read most of this. So it just, once again, looks like we're just putting outputs on here because we needed some kind of visual. So if you were thinking of a visual you could add here, maybe it could be, I mean, I'm not sure you need a visual here. So this is helpful. But after organizing and grouping the feedback, it was clear that 4 main areas needed some improvement: the sign-up process, the event creation process, the resources page, and the forums page. I think I would rather see something like, I'm trying to think of what I'd like to see here instead of an affinity diagram. I think hiring managers are really tired of seeing affinity diagrams, and they don't really tell us anything. They tell us that you moved a bunch of sticky notes around. Very good. I think I'd like to see something specific about what you decided based on these usability tests. So instead of showing me a visual of moving the results of the customer interviews or the user interviews around. Tell me about these 4 main areas that need improvement. What about the sign up process? It seems like maybe confused. I don't like this. Frustrated. What is the on-site volunteers? I don't like this donations part. So I check sandwiches and then, no, I can't read it. Call out just one thing or a couple, depending on what you addressed later here. Ooh, I'm excited. It looks pretty. Call out 1 or 2 things from each of these. Show me in like a block of 4 across, like here's the title. The sign up process needs to be more clear if I'm bringing my family or not. The event creation process. I didn't see create an event. Frustrated. Yeah, again, cannot read that, so I got to stop trying. But it is interesting because I want to help you find a couple of things that you can call out specifically. We want to know, if we're hiring you, what are you capable of deciding? So you can move Post-it notes around and create clusters and find themes. That's fantastic. That is great user research. But it's what you do next that helps us know that you have kind of an instinct for this, that you understand, oh, I need to clarify this. If you were taking this to a new CEO or the CEO who just stepped in and is like, I am ready to, not that this is going to happen, but somebody says, I'm ready to pay for this app to be created. What are the 4 things that need to be refined in order for us to move forward? And you would need to describe to them not via an affinity diagram, but actually with words. So tell the stakeholder, the hiring manager, what decisions you made because of that feedback that you got. High fidelity prototype based on patterns identified through the affinity diagram. No, tell me. Wait. Some key elements were included and updated. See, 5 out of 5, 100% of participants were confused by the wording or interactions with completing their sign up in terms of choosing donations or volunteer hours. Yes. Okay. I would, would I skip that? Yeah, I would. I would skip this entire thing, this affinity diagram, and I would get into this quickly. Make this a little bit more visually, I don't want to say pleasing, but here we are. Something like this or something breaking it up so that we have a little bit of a visual. This next part's going to be real scroll heavy, right? So show me and make this a little bit bigger. So instead of like high fidelity prototype, this is following, or you can leave it in the high fidelity prototype, but give me a card with these things and then show me the before and after. I'm loving that. Although that is kind of hard to read. Okay, no worries. Let's see. And then you go into the second one. 2 out of 5 participants were confused by the wording on the Get Assistance page. Yeah, break these into a little bit. I say the card layout because it makes it interesting and it ties it together. Right now we're getting into like lots of scrolling and lots of words. So make it easy for me to pop in and go, here's the 4 things, 4 main areas needed some improvement. Show me like 4 main area 1, boom. And then because it makes it a little bit more scannable. Right about now in the portfolio is when people start going, oh my God, this thing is never going to end. And I don't want you to fall victim to that feeling when people just go, okay, this is too much to read. Wording for creating event. 4 to 5 participants. It feels like maybe you could embed it's not really a carousel. Like I don't mean for it to like swoosh past while you're not clicking it, but like before and then after so that you don't have to have these multiple pictures down here. I would use the most complex screen maybe, and then have it so that you can click through those. Maybe tighten that up a little bit. I'm also wondering, no, the resources page needs more organization to help users find resources more quickly. We don't have context for that. It's interesting. And especially since that is a much higher impact number than 2 out of 5, I'd like to know some more context for that. What are the decisions that you made in order to organize that page so that people can find the resources more quickly and easily? All right. Design system. So not everybody is looking for a UI and UX designer. It's very beneficial to be a generalist right now for you. I'm wondering, why is this cut off on the side? Or is that just an accent color? Okay, just to make it pop off the page a little bit. This looks good. It's more of a style tile than a design system, unless you actually have created all the components and put them in a design system. That is also something that would be very, very impressive to hiring managers, being able to create even a small design system like this and have it built as a library in Figma or in XD. It looks like you've used. That could be really cool. Next steps and recommendations: accessibility. Love. Implement additional accessible design elements such as keyboard and screen reader accessibility. Conduct user testing with individuals who have disabilities to gather feedback and ensure accessibility needs are met. Love. Handoff. Create a detailed outline. Yes. Ensure all design files and assets are organized and labeled correctly. Yes. Oh my gosh. This is something that most people don't think to include. Lots of designers would not include the after launch thing because they wouldn't think to know what the metrics are, and they wouldn't think to include them because they know that it's not going to be put into production. But knowing that this is something that you're aware of and working towards, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Number of downloads, how many people are interested? How many users are actually signing up for events? System usability. I'd love to know more about what you know about system usability scale and CSAT. Love. Design without functionality will fail. Nice. I was very excited to include a forums page in this design. Not only did it satisfy my users' desire to connect, it was the first design in which I included some type of communication page for user to user. I would rephrase that and say some type of user to user communication. In my excitement, I forgot to include a way for users to actually create new posts. Yes, functionality should always be at the forefront of your design. This is why we create even small task flows, user flows for the small things. So even though you have your here's the app, I also create okay, click on this button, take enter subject line or heading line, event name. There we go. Enter event descriptions, blah, 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 blah. Walk people through the steps. I do that with my product manager so that I make sure that are you expecting to see this in the designs? Then we need to make sure it is on the user task flow and is also documented in my Jira tickets. Try and try again. I'll be the first to admit I struggle with creating the process of setting up and signing up for volunteer events. It felt choppy and unappealing when I was designing it, but I decided to keep it and get some feedback before redesigning. This resulted in being able to design the process based on initial feedback, which ultimately helped me brainstorm a process I and my users loved. Doom scrolling has become a very popular topic these days. Not only can long pages create bad responses, it can cause users difficulty in finding what they're looking for. Make sure your pages, mine was a long list of links to resources, are clearly organized. Drop-downs, accordions, and tabs are your friend when organizing. Devon, this is phenomenal. I also love that you have the invitation to come check out other case studies. I love the get in touch, Gmail or LinkedIn. I'm really impressed. I'm really, really, really impressed by the work that you've done here. I am triple impressed because I don't know if you had a mentor. I don't know how many people you had reviewing your work and giving you thoughtful, meaningful, actionable feedback throughout your project. And I also don't know how many times you iterated through this, but I need you to know it's fantastic. I really love the look of it. I am excited. I don't even ever make it over to the desktop prototypes. I am thrilled to see this, and I genuinely hope this becomes a website for you. Love all of this case study. It is, I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit on the long side. I love that you broke it up with ways that people can actually see the content without actually it's just more and longer. I think there's a couple of ways that you can tighten up some of the spacing and also to give a little bit more context. But honestly, it feels like I was being a little more nitpicky than I expected to. And this is fantastic. I love that 5 out of 5 participants were confused by. If there's a way we can maybe, no, I think it's consistent the way you've done it. I really do want to make this just a little bit more scannable in this section. Just maybe even label it similar to this. That could be very interesting. You could just say, oh gosh, what am I thinking of a title? Wording and signing up. 0% of users could complete sign up because of X, something like that. What's a really short headline you can use? And then you can break this up and they can click into the things that they want to see. But I also like it like this. Do not make changes based on simply what I've said. I really appreciate this. And I'm also super impressed. I think I've said this 73 times now. I'm so impressed. that you coded this. Amazing. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to check out your portfolio. Thank you for everybody who came along for the ride. I apologize for getting like mentally stuck a couple of times that thank you to everybody who is joining us for these portfolio reviews. I sincerely appreciate your help. Any feedback that you have for both me or Dev, more importantly, Devon, give some feedback and let them know how much you appreciated their portfolio and come check out their work. Have a fantastic night.